So if you are going to build a leadership legacy, don't just build a soup kitchen. Build an incubator. Build a cloning machine. In this episode, Richard Branson is going to show you how to screw business as usual. Can we say that?
We're travelling the world to find the most inspiring stories and strategies to share with you. I'm Stephen Sonsino, and this is the Legacy Channel. Join us, it'll be fun.
In this video, I want to show you 4 things that you can learn from Virgin Unite, the NGO set up by Richard Branson to do good by doing business. Thing 1 is doing, not donating. That's the big idea in this book. Above all, this book is about doing things that matter. Things like building an engine. Branson describes Virgin Unite as an engine, or an incubator, something that's going to have a disproportionate impact rather than just donating to charity. Now, don't get me wrong. Donating your time, whatever money you have, your effort, your skills to charity does help. But Branson thinks that we can do more, much more, by thinking bigger. For instance, right at the beginning of the book, on page 9, he says that doing good is not just about writing checks. I feel strongly that it's not all about money. In fact, often money is the least important bit. It's about people using their skills and figuring out ways to use the assets of their businesses to drive not only profits, but a better world. Writing a check might impact hundreds of people's lives. Mobilizing your whole business to drive change can impact millions of lives and give a whole new life purpose to all of the people who work for your company. It's an idea echoed by Jean Ohlwang, the CEO of Virgin Unite, who says we need to move away from what she calls the golden check philosophy of olden days philanthropy. The men and women who are going to make the most change in the world are those who believe it's about doing, not donating. Thing 2, think bigger. Now, don't imagine this is a back-patting, isn't Virgin clever kind of book. It's a pretty honest exploration of how Branson came to start Virgin Unite and the principal reasons why it's grown to infuse the whole of the Virgin Group with real meaning. A key quote for me comes early on in the book, on page 24. I thought I was doing reasonably well as an entrepreneur and as a caring human being. My business life was running smoothly and my personal life was very happy. Things were running so smoothly that on the whole, I felt very comfortable spending more time on my beloved Necker Island. But something was missing. As I grew older, it seemed that I wasn't making a big enough difference, particularly given my own incredible good fortune. I went from feeling content that things were going well in my life and in business, and satisfied that in many ways I was contributing to society, to realizing that I hadn't even begun to scratch the surface of what needed to be done to help ensure the survival of the planet and life as we know it. I'd always wanted Virgin to be a strong role model of social entrepreneurship, but now I knew we would have to do more than pay lip service to help drive change and to get everyone across all of our businesses to be part of that change. I love that point about not making enough of a difference. Now, the trigger for Branson to act was a specific personal incident to do with AIDS, and I won't spoil the story for you, but let me just read this sentence which grabbed me on page 163. There are some things that change you forever. They have such an impact on a deep level that not only will you never forget them, you know you have to do something. Now, for Branson, that specific personal incident comes against the backdrop of believing that something was missing. And maybe that's the case with you, perhaps. You've sorted your business, your personal life is in pretty good shape. So here's the second lesson I take from Branson's book. Be sensitive to your own dissatisfaction. Listen to yourself, that quiet voice in the back of your head. Ask yourself, are you making enough of a difference? Like Branson, are you finding there's something missing from your life? If so, it's time to think bigger. You can make a difference. Thing 3, disproportionate impact. It's pretty easy to be cynical about anything to do with the larger-than-life Richard Branson. But more than any of his other biographies to date, Screw Business as Usual is compelling. It's not just the story of Branson as an emerging philanthropist. It's not just patting himself on the back. It's a story about how Virgin has created an astonishing legacy through a range of sustainable, durable, high-impact projects, all actually having a disproportionate impact. There's the story of the Carbon War Room, set up to coordinate the world's war on carbon emissions. There's the amazing story of the Elders, that group of great and good from around the world, created with rock musician Peter Gabriel and involving Nelson Mandela while he was still alive. Now, the cynical might say that the Elders does have the support of the great and the good, so it's bound to have some impact on the political stage. But Branson and his team still had to make a strong business case for the Elders. These are all very busy people. And he built a 5-year budget for the project. This is a serious approach to leaving a legacy. And then there's the creation of Virgin Unite itself, which Branson describes as an engine of change. I love that phrase, an engine of change. That's what I mean when I say don't start a soup kitchen, start an engine of change. And this is what I take away from the book above all, that if you want to create a legacy, it must have disproportionate impact. It must be an engine of change. It must have all of these things to the max. And we must play on the world stage. We have to tackle issues of global importance. You must tackle issues of global importance. Thing 4, start something, anything. I remember Branson coming to London Business School a few years ago to talk to the MBA students and the executives who were there on our executive education programs, and he got a lot of questions about entrepreneurship. In fact, we'd set up the cameras to film his talk, but he just threw the floor open for questions straight away. So the AV team had to unhook all the cameras and completely turn them around 180 degrees because the conversation was really happening very much from the floor, from the men and women with their questions for Richard. We were all extremely engaged, and most of the focus was on the students particularly and the executives. By the way, sign up later on and I'll send you the link for that video together with the transcript of this video and some other resources as well. Do it later, don't do it now. I'll remind you when. Why I mention the talk at London Business School is a point that he makes to entrepreneurs often. Start something. It doesn't have to be big, not at first. And the same applies to you and to your legacy. If you haven't already started, or if you're feeling concerned because it's not growing as fast as you'd like, don't worry. Start something, start small, start anything, start anywhere. It doesn't have to be global. But above all, start something with leverage. Don't just start a project that'll help a group of individuals, a specific group of individuals. Create something that will help many groups of individuals. That's what I mean when I say don't just start a soup kitchen. Start an incubator that teaches people how and why to make and run soup kitchens. My desert island page, the one page I would take to a desert island if I couldn't take the whole book, is page 315, where he talks about communities. Throughout the book, we've celebrated many individuals who have effected change in the world. But change doesn't happen through any one individual. Change happens through the power of communities. There are 2 great truths in the world. First, the world can be changed. Second, every great movement in the world starts with a tiny group of people who simply refuse to accept a situation. They gather their ideas and their passion and drive forward. If there is a problem, they solve it or simply overcome it. They are not intimidated by the odds. I guess the message for you is to find a like-minded community, a forward-thinking, progressive community that can help you to craft your business legacy, to refuse to accept the status quo. My 60-second summary. Number 1, this is about doing and not donating. 2, doing good isn't just about writing checks. You need to think bigger. 2.5, if you haven't started building your legacy yet, is there something missing in your life? 3, if you have started building a legacy or a philanthropy, ask yourself, are you making enough of a difference? Does your legacy have disproportionate impact? And 4, or is it 5, in setting up a legacy, make sure it will deliver sustainable, durable, and above all, high impact projects. Right now, you should type in your email address somewhere on this page and we'll send you a transcript of this video and links to some additional videos and other resources that you might like to check out. Do it now. That's it for another edition. It just remains for me to say that whatever you do, change the world. Yeah, I mentioned the title a couple of times, but I think I got away with it.
We're travelling the world to find the most inspiring stories and strategies to share with you. I'm Stephen Sonsino, and this is the Legacy Channel. Join us. It'll be fun.